Hey Priyam, hi. It seems we are now live.
Hi, good evening, Harshad.
How have you been? All good with you?
Yes, all good. In Delhi, I'm based out of Delhi. The winter is setting in here, and yeah, it's a good holiday season coming up with Christmas and New Year, and obviously a productive year for Truecaller overall as we conclude this year. Yeah, so a lot of look forward to in the upcoming year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And right, I think this is that time of the year we are again connecting and meeting our community at whole. December is usually the year when we do our annual conference and work with our product ecosystem to bring a lot of learnings and learn from them as well. Right. So I'm really excited about this that we are back with Build for Mobile this year. And, for all the larger audience, first of all, welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really stoked to have you here. Build for Mobile at Truecaller has been that initiative where we work with the ecosystem to understand what are the challenges that they're solving specifically on mobile, as we all are kind of solving for users coming from emerging markets. And that also gives us an opportunity at Truecaller to learn from you, to share our learnings, as well as bring people from the ecosystem who have done tremendous work and have been scaling growth. So that's been our initiative, that's been our motivation, that as we evolve as a stronger product community, how can we instill that behavior? How can we pass on those learnings on how we can further grow and solve key problems for users in emerging markets? And which is what Build for Mobile stands for. We would have loved to come and interact with you in person. That's been the format of Build for Mobile over the last 2 years. But yeah, as said, right, the situation has definitely put us in to go on the virtual mode. But great to see so much love from the community and you folks joining in. Thank you again, and I welcome you back to Build for Mobile 2020. Quick things as we start. Uh, yes. So we are scheduled to have this discussion today with different founding teams, product teams, and stakeholders for about 1.5 hours. Feel free to buzz us with your questions, speakers with what you feel, and any inquisitive thoughts that you would have. Please use the chat window to post any questions you might have. Our speakers might want to understand few things from you, so they might put up polls for you. So, just respond on those polls. And yes, we'd love to hear, what you think, or your learnings and takeaways as you attend and hear from us today. Feel free to tag us on Twitter and simply use hashtag Build for Mobile. So we're looking forward to enjoying this moment with you as well as learn with a lot of insights today. As we get started, Priyam, again welcoming you back to Build for Mobile. Uh, Great to have you here, and over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Harshad, and hello, namaste, jumbo, marhaba to all our developers, startups, product builders from different regions who have joined us today for this Build for Mobile. While this is our first Build for Mobile, which has gone fully virtual, but it has also helped us to connect with all of you at one time, making the place kind of irrelevant, irrespective of wherever you are, and to join together and participate here. So, on behalf of the Truecaller family, I welcome you all once again. And today, we're going to talk about what's happening on the Truecaller ecosystem, what's new there, and then how Truecaller is shaping up as a platform. Essentially, what it means is that what are the tools and technologies we are opening it up, where you as developers, startups, product guys can build on top of that and create more user value, right? Which are essentially frictionless, trusted experiences. So let's get real while we are hooked on virtually. Next slide, please. Yeah, so let's start with Truecaller. Again, Truecaller is world's one of the most trusted communication experience service with half a billion plus installs, with 250 million plus active users who use us every day in their life for trusted and productive communication. And we are one of the top apps, not only in India, which is our biggest market, but also in many other countries in the emerging markets like Middle East, Africa, where we are one of the top used and top rated apps under the communication category. And we are backed by, again, one of the world's most prominent and prolific institutional investors, like from Kleiner Perkins to Sequoia to Tomico. And together with their backing, their support, and obviously with our users and partners, we are in that journey to further scale this Truecaller ecosystem or the platform for creating value for every stakeholder who are part of this ecosystem. So I hope you've. This is one stats I thought we'll start with. It's like, I don't know how you can count the numbers, how easy or difficult it is to count this figures which you have. Is 3 zeros, then obviously preceded by 21, which, if I refresh myself, is 21 billion spam calls and blocked and identified by Truecaller as we speak. And if I was thinking how closely I can relate to it in real life examples. And what I thought, again, as part some calculation, is that which could be equivalent to 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, which I'm sure many of you have watched or are familiar with, viewed 2.3 million times, right? So it's an interesting stat. And again, that's the nature of the complex, the depth of the problem we have been solving around spam based communication across our focus markets, including India and other parts of the world. Again, and when we talk to many of our customers, partners, and it's as I said, as we continue to update how we are progressing Truecaller as an experience, right? And as I said, we are a communication platform, and while we started with caller ID and spam blocking, that's how a growth model happened. That's how users started using us in their everyday life. But we've extended that. Addressing or emphasizing with what are the other areas we can solve in the communication life cycle of our users. And that's where we brought in more complementary synchronous newer services around communication, extending the caller ID and spam detection as a core service. Now, if I take caller ID as an example, while most of you who use Truecaller are familiar with, and how we have evolved it now, something called as call reason, right? So that's the feedback we got from our users that, hey, while Truecaller tells us who is calling, that's great, but can it go one step ahead and tell us why is somebody calling? What's the context of the call, which will make the user more empowered, more productive in accordingly responding to those calls, right? Either you pick up or you don't pick up or you reject the call. So that's where we have now started rolling out something called as call reason. And I would urge all of you to try it out and give our experiences or feedbacks. We have already not used it so far, but we're already getting a lot of good feedbacks from the users who have been asking about this. And again, further increasing the utility around or innovate on the caller ID experience in itself with call reason. And again, from calling, communication is not about calling, right? It's also about messaging, right? To make it complete. And that's where, if you look at how we have evolved and empowered users to interact with our SMS inbox, right? Where typically in your SMS inbox, things could be very, very haphazardly scattered. You don't know which are your spam calls. You don't know which are your productive calls. How do you really distinguish them? So that is where we've really kind of made the users' messaging inbox as more, I would say, productive, trusted, where they can really segregate their spam messages versus important messages. essentially the messages should, which they want to really track or update, should be easily discoverable, right? And at the same time, using AI and ML as technologies, we've kind of made it more and more kind of seamless experiences for users to differentiate between the messages which they really want to focus on versus messages which they shouldn't be caring about, or I would say spam messages. And from messaging to group chat, right? That's another feature which we have rolled out as part of Truecaller instant messaging service. Again, in some of the group chats, you've all seen in today's world that sometimes one is pulled into a random group. And as I said, you don't know where you have got it added. And then you say, I'm in the wrong group. I didn't even know about it. I didn't even kind of have shown my interest, right? So how do you essentially prevent yourself from getting added to random groups which you shouldn't be part of, right? Which you don't want to be part of, or which you don't know about them, right? So that are kind of shields which you build, that unless you have a consent, you can't just get added to random groups. And likewise, hidden number based chat, right? Like for example, when you're kind of interacting in a group messaging environment, by default your number is hidden, right? Unless you choose to kind of share or kind of I would say display it, right? So these are again features to further give the empowerment in the user. How do they make their communication more productive and trusted and fruitful, at the same time having the control in their own hands. And again, from caller ID to messaging to voice, right? As I said, we all talk, we all love talking, right? Irrespective of the distance. And that's where at Truecaller, we extended our communication offering to calling as well, that, hey, use the Truecaller VoIP calling, internet calling with HD experience, right? In today's world, obviously, there are multiple options of calling, but again, many times one faces call drops, call connectivity issues. And as I said, users want scalable, alternative, trusted options. And that is where, again, as an extension of our communication experience, today users on Truecaller can do internet calling, right, from a Truecaller user A to Truecaller user B in a seamless HD environment, and really start to extend the communication journey within the Truecaller app. And then finally, we have premium users as well, right, where we've said, fine, that they need to get, again, some extra experiences should they choose to, right? And that's where we have Truecaller Premium offering, which is a subscription-based service, which has kind of organically really grown very well for us. And as you can see, some of the services which really users get to benefit if they opt in to subscribe for Truecaller Premium is around call recording, who viewed my profile, incognito mode, no ads free experience, premium badge, etc., and many more. And then from premium, you can upgrade if you want really your identity to be even more sophisticated and fanciful, and again, even more important, where you can upgrade yourselves to Truecaller Gold and really have a kind of a gold themed profile. So again, that was about Truecaller, the mothership, the core experiences which everyday users are using more and more in their daily life as they are communicating in a trusted and productive manner. And then again, how we are leveraging this core Truecaller platform to really open up technologies and tools where others can build on top of that, right? That is one thing is very, very key to Truecaller, that how we create value, not only for our users, but for the ecosystem around us, like developers, startups, and businesses. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this part of the presentation. And what we observe and what we have learned, that today's businesses are building for mobile first experiences, right? Which was not the case maybe a few years back, which was essentially primarily a desktop first experience. And that has really evolved towards, and there are multiple factors and reasons for that, which I would not get into in the interest of time, but assume that many of them or factors are known, including access devices, data penetration, right? And first time users whose first world or access to the internet world has been via smartphones, right? Next slide. And when we talk about businesses are building mobile first experiences, that also we've seen that mobile number has become such an important identity. It's like the native identity of people who use digital services via digital devices in their daily life, and even in the offline world, that, hey, the entire journey, right, from your identity verification to your interaction and communication happens with that native identity of yours. So that's another critical observation we're seeing. And then businesses are building across categories whether digitizing grocery, commute, fashion, food, content, healthcare, financial needs, and everything is tied to that core mobile number as an identity, right? And if you talk about new internet users, which some also call next billion users, but essentially they are new to internet users, and for them, if you look at for them, email is a passe. They don't understand. They never had an email ID. Probably they will never have an email ID, right? What they have is a mobile number as their, I would say, identity, which is their core, which is their native, which kind of reflects and maps to them who they are, right? And what these users demand is obviously an easy learning curve. They don't understand jargons. They don't understand gates, and they need to be served in the way which they understand and the most, right? So these are some of the ethos or the principles which are coming into more and more play, where businesses, developers are building digital products for these set of users as well in emerging markets. Now, when you talk about product building, and one of the first thing which at Truecaller we look and offer or enable is the identity, right? Now, there are two parts of the identity. One is obviously the user identity, right? Essentially, and then one is the business identity, right? Like for the business, it's equally important when they're calling the user, they need to demonstrate the right identity, the right context why they're calling, so, and for genuine conversations, so that the user needs to know that, hey, if this is the identity, this is the context, and hence I should be picking up the call. Or likewise, if the business is messaging with the user, likewise, the user has the right to know why the business is calling. Is the business verified? Do they have the right profile there? And what's the context? And likewise for the user, once they starting to integrate or use these digital products as a first step, the business has the right to verify the identity of the user. That, hey, who are these users, right? And as I said, its mobile number is their primary identity. How do I verify with them? The most frictionless manner, yet in a trusted manner, so that as a business, as a product, as a developer, I want to have the right set of users who are coming into my system. I don't want to have fly-by-the-night users. I want to have the wrong users, which create more risk to my business, my product, and everything down the line there. And that is where at Truecaller, we are again solving for how do we enable trusted identity, solving both for the businesses and for the users in a win-win manner, which adds value to both of them. And again, minimize other business areas like minimize risk, minimize revenue losses, etc. And again, serving the user at the right time, at the right place when they need it. And again, that also brings up back to the fundamental question, why do we as Truecaller exist as a platform? As I said, our core motto is that to build trust everywhere by making the communication safe and efficient, be it the user to user communication, be it the user to a business communication, or be it the business to the user communication. And that's where, as a Truecaller, as a developer platform, as I said, we're focusing on key things. There's three key things which you're focusing on. One is obviously identity, which I talked about, which are the products which are enabling that to solve for frictionless and trusted identity. And then from identity, we are taking a segue to the communication, that once you have verified the user, how do you communicate, right, in an engaging and a seamless manner and a trusted manner. And then finally, how Truecaller as a platform or a scale platform can be used for people who are building digital products for the users to drive discovery as well in a contextual manner. And starting with the first product, Truecaller SDK, which many of the startup developed community across the markets have been using it as a primary mode of user verification with mobile number. And we'll talk about a bit more on that in the next few minutes. Next slide, please. Yeah, so when it talk about identity verification with mobile number, there are fundamentally certain challenges when you see how traditionally mobile number is verified today, or identity is verified today. And it's similar across all markets, where, as I said, there are a bunch of pain points around SMS OTP as a problem, multiple manual steps, longer activation time, right? If you're a marketeer, if you've really got the user to your onboarding funnel in your app or your mobile web experience, you would love the user, you would like the user to seamlessly onboard in the fastest possible manner with the least onboarding baggage, and obviously getting ready as a user to experience your product, right? and in the way minimize user drops, user baggage, app abandonment, cart checkout dropouts, because the identity verification was really frictionful, right? So these are some of the things which traditional mobile identity verification today has challenges with, or solves, or creates more pain points, and impacts business goals, and obviously the user experience, most importantly. And that is where how Truecaller SDK comes in. As I said, it's an instant one tap onboarding process, can be used across any touch point in the user journey in your product, wherever you want to verify the user's mobile number as an identity, be it at onboarding, be it at the time of engagement, be it at the time of checkout, right? And essentially enable the user to frictionlessly and seamlessly interact with your digital product across the user journeys across mobile sites and apps. Next slide, please. This is a good example, and again, I'm taking Big Basket, which again, for many people who have joined from different parts of the world, here again, Big Basket is India's leading e-grocery platform, right? And with over 1 billion plus in GMBV, right? And today, many people use them as a primary channel of on ordering on grocery or digital medium, right? And grocery is like something which is hygiene, right? And when they started using it across their touch points on the time of onboarding or the time of checkout, and over the last many months, what they've used, and this is some of the impact which they shared. They saw a 27% increase in the sign up rates, right? Successfully users were able to, and which is a big number. If you see, almost 30% earlier users were dropping off. And for any business, that's a big chunk to ignore. And specifically when it's a commerce business, that essentially you're not only losing these set of users at the time of onboarding or checkout, if it's a guest checkout experience, but also you're losing on revenue as a downstream impact, right? So this is one example how Truecaller helped solve that, and kind of remove that friction and made the funnel more, I would say, better, with a better conversion. These are some of the examples. Again, we've got people who have used us across the ecosystem and who kind of really cared for sharing it in their digital mediums. And again, I did not talk about it. Again, as I said, I would love you to quickly have a read through. Again, here we'll take a quick pause and we'll show you a couple of video demos on how different apps have been using it at different touch points, the Truecaller SDK for user onboarding with mobile number or verification. So there are two use cases which we'll be showcasing you here. One is Rapido, which is one of the leading urban transportation startup platform in India, around bike taxis and all, and how they have used it, the Truecaller SDK, for verifying seamlessly both the Truecaller users who happen to be Truecaller users with their Truecaller mobile number-based credentials, as well as non-Truecaller users using a simple missed call-based functionality, which we enable as an infrastructure. And likewise, MedLife, which is again, we are all focused on healthcare, both preventive and reactive in these times, even more than ever. MedLife is a leading e-health platform, and how they're using it as part of their user journey. So, Harshad, I would request you to please play these videos.
Sure, Priyam. I'm just gonna be switching my tab to help us play the videos. Just a second. Awesome. I hope my screen is visible back again. Awesome. Priyam, are you able to see my screen now?
Yeah, I'm able to see your screen.
Yes. You want to run through Rapido or MedLife first? What are you excited for?
I think let's start with MedLife. Obviously, both are equally important, but yeah, let's start with health.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I think this is a very interesting, as you rightly said, we've been hearing the ecosystem and the feedbacks. And as you rightly said, Truecaller, can now be used to verifying and authenticating users at any touch points, right? So I'm just going to play this quickly. Feel free to pause me wherever you want or have any points to highlight.
Yeah. So I think, as you can see, the seamless integrated identity verification and checkout experience here, because user didn't even see a sign up login gate here, right? They straight away came into the experience, which is the app MedLife in this case. They kind of discovered the inventory or the stuff which they want to buy, and then straight away they moved on to the checkout flow. And that's where what we're seeing behaviors where integrated identity verification and checkouts are happening. And that's where you saw how this Truecaller experience is enabling that, almost, as I said, being a native experience within the product, with the native theme of the product, right? Color, texture, etc., and really having a call to action, that why the identity verification is important, right? Many times, if it is not clear to the user why am I being verified, then essentially you're not giving the right message, and again, we can't expect the right call to action for the user then. And that's why, for example, you said, hi, so and so, to place order, please log in. So that's a clear call to action that, hey, if you have to place order, you need to verify your identity. And as a user, you get a straight away a clear message that, here, hence I need to kind of do this step before I can really check out and place the order.
Absolutely, I think very correctly said, Priyam. And one more thing which I'd just like to highlight, as said, right, we continuously bring community feedback in the way we build our products. One of the feedbacks that we've seen at Truecaller itself is a lot of these users do not have a tendency to, go between multiple screens, and, going to a different screen just increases the probability of them to drop off, as well as the time consumed, because if you're on a web page, it will take its own sweet loading time, and which is where this way in which you've evolved the product, right, as reduces or removes that need to switch the user to a new screen itself, and gets them tap their identity like a zero screen experience. So the user not only saves on the data when they are checking out, but also the time, because you do not need another 3 seconds for the screen to switch and load. So that's where we've seen some really tremendous outcomes and results when we've started implementing this with a lot of the commerce brands now. Yeah, as said, done in a jiffy, within a quick instant stuff.
Yeah. So as I said, be it checkout, be it onboarding, be it any other touch point in the user journey, Truecaller can enable or power the seamless or instant user verification with mobile number. And now with Rapido, which is again Commute, this is the user happens to be a Truecaller user, as you can see. It's a simple one tap instant way, very, very native look and feel, and with a clear call to action, and then instantly on board, and then obviously get to booking a bike.
Right, right. And again, just to add, right, this again comes from the feedback that we want both the users and our ecosystem to give a much native experience to their users, because this lot of new users have a fear on what's happening and is there something to lose out, and which is where, as you rightly said, we enable product teams to customize the experience to their complete app theme, which makes it feel as a part of their own story and gets huge response from the users itself. And we take pride that we're kind of building that experiences inside the product by working closely with the ecosystem, and being one of those unique products out there. Yeah, again, I'm inside within a second. Awesome.
Yeah, and can we also show the flow where via missed call if the user doesn't happen to be a Truecaller user? Because again, we also got a good feedback from the developers who have been using that, say, how can we extend this to also verify non-Truecaller users? And that's where we brought in the missed call based flow. And again, missed call is a very familiar phenomena since the evolution of mobile phones, feature phones back in the days. People are familiar with that missed call phenomena, right? The missed call based functionality, and that is what we've extended from ease of use, user intuitiveness. That, hey, with the missed call, you can instantly be verified as well if you don't happen to be a Truecaller user, with the same ease and frictionless experience.
Absolutely, Priyam. Playing this for you now. Oops, there seems to be a hassle from my end, but yeah, let me come back with the relevant video to you in a bit.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, so I think, as I said, just to summarize, this product has been built for the developer community, with the developer community. So thanks to all of you for giving us these feedbacks. Again, keeping the user at the center of it. And I think without your feedbacks and input, I don't think so we would have been able to evolve this product and even do more than what it was in the initial days. So a big thank you to all of you. And again, to summarize, building emerging market products is essentially speak the language of your users, do the things which they understand the most rather than expecting them to go through a learning curve, right? And then that's where this product has been built for instantly verifying the user's identity. And again, with a native feel and experience in any of the third party apps or products which they use of their choice in their daily life and optimize for different network environments. And again, from identity of user, we move to the business identity. As we talked about, there's two parts of identity here, which Truecaller empowers. And again, it's equally important for you as a business to display your right identity, right context, if you want to really have a productive communication with your set of users who are already with you. And that is extremely, extremely important because that helps enable some productive communication where the user needs to communicate with you and you need to kind of really help and enable that communication from your side. And that's where Truecaller business identity is there, right? Which helps with advanced identity protection for businesses. Like here, you can see an e-commerce example, Amazon seller support in this case, which has been powered by Truecaller business identity, where many times in the e-commerce user journey, post the order cycle, where the delivery is a super important part, where the delivery guys are calling for your delivery. They're even looking at for your address, what are the nearest landmark they need to visit, in spite of having all the details um, uh, pre-known or pre-approved, but still that last mile calling is super important. And then if the user picks up easily by knowing the context, it helps them to provide a last mile customer experience or customer delight as well, in addition to already the good work which is they have been doing in the higher part of the funnel, right? And obviously continue to create user delight and higher CSAT, right? So that has been really doing well. And again, if you really want to go one step further, which are really extremely important calls, what we call priority calls, for example, you have booked a cab and the driver is really figuring out what is the landmark, what is the nearest place you need to come to your door. And that's a super important call for you as a user and for the driver because the wait time is very less and you need to board the cab within that wait time, right? And that's where these are priority calls, or for example, a healthcare worker visiting your home for a test or even delivering medicine or a doctor consultation as a home visit. These are super important priority calls. And then, as I said, for those specific use cases, we help with priority calling after verifying the business, the use case. And again, these use cases are where the user needs you to communicate with him or her for the service which they have chosen from your kind of platform or the product. And then call reason we talked about at the beginning of this session. So going forward, we'll also add one more layer of context and to make it even more clear why somebody is calling you as a business. So going forward, call reason will also be opened up for businesses to really make themselves super clear uh, at that point of time why they are calling the user and let the user take the call, like take the decision whether to accept or receive the call. Yeah, and likewise, your verified business badge, and then from moving from calling to communication, as I said, businesses are sending you messages every day, and again, how it helps you to really distinguish your important updates, reminders, acknowledgments of your transactions, right? And as you can see, you're a big basket. You have Domino's Pizza, you have Clove Dental Clinic, you have Swiggy. I think in some of the Indian examples I'm taking here, right? And again, you will need to track these important updates since you have ordered for these services, you've paid for these services, and you're expecting the updates. And again, how it enables the businesses to really display themselves with the right logo, right message, so that the users don't mix them as spam messages, because as every message is not a spam message, and hence that distinction has to be made more and more clear, so the users choose that for the right context, right business messages, that should be easily discoverable and easily trackable for them, and they don't have a fear of missing out on that. And again, finally, from identity to communication, and again, it's a Truecaller is also a scale platform, a reach platform. And as a product, when you're building the product, with apart from its value proposition, the problem or the pain point which you're addressing for your end users, you need to also discover yourself. Right? You need to create a branding proposition for yourself, and that's where Truecaller branding solutions comes in. How Truecaller, given its reach and scale in emerging markets, um, can be leveraged to really serve the contextual ads again, serve them when the user needs it the most, right? The user is exploring those kind of services the most, right? Contextually. And that's where Truecaller as a platform, given its scale, as you can see some of the numbers here, from India as a market here, across tiers, across cities, how that can be leveraged from as Truecaller as a discovery platform via the branding solutions. And again, the formats which are possible, obviously, display ads, native ads, and video ads. Uh, and the one which suits you the most, obviously, you can leverage in that manner. Yeah. So summarize the journey from ads to, again, if I build a segue further, you've essentially started interacting with the service. In this case, 1mg, for example, you saw the 1mg ad, and now you want to buy a mask for yourself from 1mg app or the website. And the moment you click on the checkout, you need to verify yourself, and that's where the user verification via Truecaller comes in as an instant experience, a native experience, as you can see. And once you've instantly verified yourself, you've done the checkout, and essentially you get your order updates on your Truecaller inbox from that brand, in this case 1mg, which is India's leading healthcare platform, about the status of delivery and all in the same native, predictable, consistent experience. And then finally the 1mg delivery comes into play, that hey, this is the date and time when I was supposed to deliver your mask to your home. And that's where the delivery call, the business identity being powered here by 1mg delivery, as I said, Truecaller business identity solution. So as you can see, how the entire user journey in your digital product, right from discovery to identity verification, which is user identity verification seamlessly, to tracking those messages, updates, right, for the stuff which you have bought on the product or platform, all the way up to fulfilling the last mile delivery. And that's how Truecaller One Stack as a platform with these tools and products are enabling of the businesses or the products to offer us seamless and a trusted experience all through the entire journey. And finally, as I said, these are simple to integrate, intuitive experience. Frictionless is the core thing which solves, right, across all these products which I talked about, and drive more trust for users in your products, and helps you to drive your growth and revenue with this Truecaller One Stack set of products and offerings. And finally, some of the top companies across different markets who are using us across this product lines, be it the Truecaller SDK for identity verification, to Truecaller business identity solutions, to communication solutions across categories, from content to social commerce, uh, to music streaming, to grocery, to travel and commute, right? And these are just few names, to B2B platforms, and many more, to edutech, and so on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. I think that was definitely very insightful, Priyam. I am really excited. I think the way we've been working with the ecosystem, getting this feedbacks, and which is where being able to build this. But yeah, again, this again comes from the fact that we really want and go out and ensure the users are communicating and interacting with businesses in a very trusted manner. And so businesses could also trust these users, and which is where we kind of keep our play between solving for identity, both for businesses and users. But yeah, so much. Thank you so much for this insights. This has been really wonderful interacting with you today.
Yeah, and thanks again to everybody joining in here. And one message I want to give is that as we are opening up more technologies and tools for you to build on to create more value, keeping the user at the center of it, which is super important for all of us. But yeah, please continue to give us feedbacks how we can really evolve these products, make it more valuable, kind of solve for them even more and more. And as I said, the philosophy at Truecaller, what we follow is build for and build with. So let's do it together, even as a way forward journey. So thank you very much, everybody, for this session. And again, as for the next session, I think we have one of the customers who have been using us on some of these products, and we have. I would request Harshad to really host that session and invite housing.com team to really discuss and have a conversation on how they have been able to build their mobile user journey, and how has Truecaller contributed its 2 cents there. Over to you, Harshad.
Absolutely. Thank you, Priyam. Thank you again.